Welcome to Throwback Thursday, a trip down memory lane showcasing the golden era of RC cars. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to the first episode of Throwback Thursday, a look back to the golden era of RC cars. Today, I thought I'd start off strong with what is, in many people's opinion, one of the nicest RC cars to ever be produced, the Tamiya Avante. Now, first thing I'm going to say, because I know some of you guys have already noticed, this is not an original Avante. This is an Avante re-release, which was part of the 2011 re-release issue. Hard to believe it, it's been 10 years since this has been released, but nevertheless, it's still a re-release. I'm not 100% sure of all the changes that they made from the original issue versus the re-release. To me, it's not that important, to be totally honest. This is more just to look at some of these beautiful old RC cars that got us hooked back in the day as kids through the 70s, 80s, and 90s. This is mine. This is my own kit. And I built this. I purchased this about a year and a half ago. And as you can tell by the underbelly, it hasn't been driven. It has been test driven on carpet to make sure everything worked. And that's it. It's a piece of art. I can't bring myself to take this thing off road and go beat it up. It is just way too pretty. I can't do it. But, let's just start by taking a look at the overall vehicle. See what we got going on here. The shocks are absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful gold shocks, gold anodized front and rear with a very, very aggressive stance. The leaning angle of the shocks in the front, I mean, it sets the Avante apart from anything else in the world of RC. Now, that being said, the functionality of the shocks isn't exactly the greatest. They're, given the angle of them, you'd think they'd be quite soft, but they're actually pretty stiff. And again, these have not been worked in at all. This is the most action these shocks have seen. But, they're pretty stiff, but just look at them. They are absolutely gorgeous to look at. The springs, if you notice, are kind of a wider spring here and it tapers down tighter into a smaller perch at the bottom. Kind of a really neat design. And same idea for the rear, where it's pretty, it's wide at the top, and as it comes down, you see how the spring narrows down to the lower shock mount. So a really interesting spring shape. And I love just that leaning angle looks super, super aggressive on the front end of the Avante. Moving on, we've got pretty beefy turnbuckles up front, fully adjustable, all metal, totally badass. The steering knuckles up front, I think these are a little different from the various re-release models, but at any rate, that's what we've got on this 2011 release version. The lower A-arm is, it's kind of consisted of this plastic outer portion with metal adjustable links on the inside. Really, really cool, super beefy, and then a nice little sway bar up front. Moving into the rear, we have this super, it's dated now, but at the time, I'm sure it was super futuristic. This trailing axle, this trailing arm kind of design, which we see sort of used in real vehicles today, a similar sort of a design. And if you think of back in the day, it kind of made sense to have that arm trailing to absorb bumps. The rear suspension works quite a bit better than the front, but really nice, big, beefy, adjustable metal trailing arm in the rear with adjustable upper links as well, and an anti-sway bar. So that's the shocks, the kind of the meat and potatoes of the suspension. Now let's check out these tires. What do you guys think of these tires? Super aggressive looking, super gripper, and these cam lock wheels are super neat. Let's check these guys out, see how they work. Again, very vintage. So what you do is you sort of pop that guy up, and from there you can unscrew your cover like so, and that's how you remove your wheel. So really cool design. Again, very different, very Tamiya, right? They do things their own way. 12 mil hex on the inside. And yeah, pretty cool thing that they did there, I think. From there, let's take a closer look at this body. So an absolutely gorgeous body, very space age design. Very Tamiya in that you still have the driver figure inside, which I absolutely love. The driver has a name, Paranoid Perry. You've got this beautiful body here, painted the box art color. If you notice, one thing I didn't know that the Avante had until I purchased it was that it has an under tray. I had to trim it just like I would the body, painted it body color, and we have that there to protect the chassis. Of course, on the Avante, we have an obligatory gigantic wing on the back. Number 5, being nuts is neat. It is very neat to be nuts. And one of the coolest things about this is right here. And I didn't know the Avante had this function until I got this. And you can actually set a different angle. You can unlock this pin and move it into any one of these 5 holes here, and you can adjust the angle of your wings. So as you can see, I went just middle of the road. I can make it less aggressive or more aggressive. And middle of the road, it's still pretty aggressive. I love the way it looks. It's way too cool. I'm going to leave it right there, but pretty neat thing. You can adjust the wing on the Avante. Who'd have thought? Now let's take the body off this guy and see what is inside. I haven't had this body off since I built it, so bear with me. These body isn't the easiest thing to take off, that is for sure. There's our body. There's Paranoid Perry himself, chilling, hanging out, seeing what's going on. So let's start off with what you're looking at right there, and that is the Avante 2011 Special GT tuned Tamiya motor. So beautiful looking brushed motor into the sealed gearbox. Again, this thing hasn't been driven at all, so everything looks just as it does as I built it. But yeah, there's the motor with that beautiful special sticker on top there, the Avante 2011 Special. And man, that thing's just gorgeous. Look at it. Man, that's nice. Inside, you will see a steering servo. I put a waterproof servo in there thinking I might run this thing, but I'm not going to ever run this, I decided. So I will actually take that servo out and replace it with something vintage at some point and use that in one of my other rigs. Comes with this ESC, the Tamiya TBLE02S, which works for both brushed and brushless motors. Of course, I'm running the brushed motor that it came with, but if you wanted to upgrade, you could upgrade to a brushless motor, which is a nice function. Kind of a pain in the butt to set these ESCs up, but for an included ESC, it's really not too bad. I did change the plugs over to Dean's because I do run Dean's on all of my kits. Now, looking at this chassis, first thing we notice is this beautiful carbon fiber upper deck. So it's a double decker chassis. Pretty neat. So I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's do this. Let's take off this lower, a couple of body clips here for the lower skid plate. All right. And pop that guy off. So now you can really get a look for how this chassis works. It's a double decker, double layer carbon fiber chassis. So really neat. We have a skinny sort of lower bottom chassis plate, which is absolutely gorgeous. If you're going to run this, you want to take some CA glue along this seam and glue it so it doesn't start to fray at all. I'm not going to run this, so I didn't take that step. I'd like to leave it looking as mint as possible. And that is where your battery would go. This is your battery holder right here. So you would slide your battery inside that slot that you see. Then we have the upper deck, upper carbon fiber deck, where the driver is mounted and all the electronics. So another thing to notice about this kit is that there are ball bearings throughout the entire kit, which is really nice. Tamiya normally doesn't offer ball bearings with their kits. Normally they just come with the little plastic bushings or nylon bushings. So it's nice to have the ball bearings in this kit. It's a shaft driven, and you can see the shaft right there. So we have a shaft driven 4-wheel drive. There is no center differential in this kit. I think there is a center differential that you can buy for it. Some kind of an option part that Tamiya makes, but or I think maybe some guys are using a kit, center diff from another kit, and incorporating it into the Avante to make it handle a bit better. But as it comes, there is no center differential, just a front and rear, okay? We have the gearbox mounted sort of in an interesting position, more, you know, inboard mounted into the chassis with the motor inboard mounted as well. Kind of on an angle, which is sort of, I thought maybe I did something wrong when I built it, but maybe they just dropped it down as much as they can to try and lower the weight, lower down the chassis a bit. Avante, and I've set this to pretty much just the standard, you know, how the book asks you to have the instruction manual asks you to set it up. But there's quite a bit of ride height underneath here and a lot of shock travel. Really, really nice shock travel. Again, the shocks are quite stiff, but the truck or the buggy has not been used at all. So that is to be expected, but beautiful, silky smooth suspension. And I guess I'll never see it run, but again, if you want to see one running, check out YouTube. Check out Mateo Meyer. He's got a great running video of his, and you'll see it in glorious action, as he says. So that's it, guys. That is it for the Tamiya Avante. This is a 2011 re-release. Again, just wanted to go over it with you guys, and yeah, do a little Throwback Thursday. I've got a lot of other kits I want to throw back and do a little in-depth review on. So if you have any comments or questions, please throw them down in the comment section below. I'm always happy to answer. You can kind of peek over my shoulder sometimes and see some of the kits that are on the wall. If you look right there where my thumb is pointing, we've got an Egress right there. That's the cousin of the Avante. So we'll be talking about that Egress soon as well. And if you sneak a peek at any of the other kits that are behind me, you have questions or want to see a review on a specific kit, please just ask, and I will definitely do that. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Thanks for all the support. Get out there, enjoy RC, and be excellent to each other. Bye for now.